is the sunset cruise. It's just really hard to beat. You know, the sun's setting, everything's calm. That's kind of, we may see some dolphins. That's a good time to see dolphins. And
Hi, this is Kim and Jordan Unscripted.
A podcast where coastal living meets real estate. Today we have Eli, part owner of Southport Water Tours. Eli, can you tell us a little bit about what started this company?
yeah, so we have been in business for almost 10 years. This is our 9th season. And me and my business partner both grew up right down the road from here. So we've been here our whole lives. And we always would take our friends out on boats and show them the area. And we just thought that the town needed a easy way to get people out on the water.
What type of tours do you offer?
So we offer a few different options. We have eco history tours during the day. That's our sightseeing cruise. We have sunset cruises in the evening. We also do private cruises for parties, you know, birthday parties, weddings, corporate events, things like that. And we also have a tiki boat that you can book out privately as well for just a little bit more of an intimate experience cruising around on the tiki boat. So we do have plenty of options.
Is there one that is your favorite?
My favorite is the sunset cruise. It's just really hard to beat. You know, the sun's setting, everything's calm. That's kind of, we may see some dolphins. That's a good time to see dolphins. And it's just a good way to end the day. So that is by far my favorite. Although it's our least informative, it is my favorite. And it seems to be a lot of people's favorite cruise.
What can guests expect? I mean, can they grab drinks? Can they bring food on?
Yeah, so all of our cruises are BYOB, so you can bring your drinks, you know, sodas, water, beer and wine, snacks, things like that. If you book the whole private boat out, you can even bring a big cooler, lots of food, things like that. So, yeah, they can pretty much bring whatever they want. There's restrooms on the boat. It's always, all of our boats are shaded, so plenty of shade during the summer. And just expect a good time.
How long do the boat tours generally last?
All right, that is a good question. So our sightseeing cruises during the day on the tour boat are 50 minutes. Our sunset cruise is an hour. And then the tiki boat, you can book out by the hour. So we do have people book it for 1 hour. We also have people go out on that boat for 4 hours. We can go to the sandbar and do a little bit of swimming if you have that extra time.
I like that. That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
What is like one of the most memorable boat tours you've done?
We saw a giant loggerhead turtle, a huge sea. I'm sorry, not a loggerhead. Let me correct myself. A leatherback turtle, and that was a pretty big experience. It came right up to the boat. It was about the size of a hood of a car.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, just a really giant sea turtle, and that was probably the most amazing thing that I've seen on the boat myself. Definitely a memorable experience, but every day is nice, just meeting new people, talking to people, you know, hearing everybody's story, and then sharing the area with guests as well is always pretty nice.
So if I was to book the Sunsets cruise, where would we typically go?
Yeah, so our typical route is out into the mouth of the Cape Fear River, kind of over towards Fort Caswell and the Baptist Assembly, the end of Oak Island, looking out into the Atlantic Ocean, seeing Bald Head Island, the Bald Head Island Lighthouse, the Oak Island Lighthouse. There's also a bird sanctuary called Battery Island where there's 10,000 pairs of nesting birds in the summer. So we always try to stop by Battery Island if we can, and just up and down the waterfront of Southport. Sometimes we'll go down the Intracoastal Waterway, and if the tide is really high, we can get up into some marsh grass areas that are not really accessible at low tide. So we do have a general route, but the route does change just depending on the wind and the tide, which is really nice. We have so many return customers. People always see something different on every cruise.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there something that makes your boat tours different than other boat tours?
I believe so. I think just our local knowledge, people kind of growing up in the area. We have a really fun crew that works with us, all of our mates, all of our captains, really high energy. And we just try to show everybody a good time and just try to, really just, every cruise is definitely personal. So we try to show everybody a really good time. And it's hard to please everybody on the boat. You know, some people want to learn more about history. Some people want to see dolphins. But we really do try to do our best to have everybody leaving the boat happy.
Nice. It is one of my most recommended things to do in Southport because it's such a unique experience. Getting to see the city from the water is not something, it's a different perspective that you don't normally see. Do you have something that's your favorite that you talk about?
I guess my favorite thing really is just talking about the local maritime history, just as far as the river pilots coming in and out of here, bringing big ships in and out of the river, all the changes that they've done to the river, trying to make it deeper. I also like to kind of show people the lights that all the big ship captains use to help them come in and out of the river. So that is always fun for me. I do love stopping by the bird sanctuary. It's hard not to. It's kind of like National Geographic over there. So I always try to make it over there if I can. And then also when we find dolphins, that's pretty special as well. It's not like we see dolphins every single cruise. We do usually see them once a day, so that's always pretty cool. If we can find some dolphins, that's always a cherry on top, for sure.
Yeah, I think Kim and I need to rent out that tiki boat and do a client appreciation.
Not a bad idea. Not a
Sounds
bad
good.
idea. Now's the time of the year for that, for sure.
The best time because there's not as many tourists. It's not as busy.
Yeah, it's definitely, it's cooling off. It's not as busy on land. It's also not as busy on the water either. In the summer, on the weekends, there's a lot of boats cruising around. I really have to focus hard on staying out of everyone's way and doing the tour, which can be a little bit challenging. But this time of the year, there's really not a lot of people on the water. I can just kind of relax with my job, which is pretty nice.
That's nice. I bet that
Yeah.
makes everybody kind of
Exactly.
chill.
I've sat at
Yeah.
the frying pan and watched everybody like cluster out there in the channel.
Yeah, it
and
gets
I'm
crazy.
like, how do you know which way to go?
Yeah. Luckily, I know where the deeper areas and the shallow areas are. So I'll try to stay out of the channel, kind of away from everybody else, and kind of just ride on that edge where it's just deep enough for my boat, but maybe a little shallow for other people. And that really helps me in the summertime, for sure.
So if people wanted to book a tour, where can they find information about you?
Yeah, so we have a lot of stuff online. We have our website, southportwatertours.com. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. We have a ticket booth right down here in front of the Mullet Bar, right in downtown Southport, in between Provisions Company and Fishy Fishy. There's always somebody in the ticket booth. Stop by and say hey. Or yeah, just the website has the most information, just southportwatertours.com.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you all.
Eli.
Thank you so much for coming down here. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. Stay tuned for more Kim and Jordan Unscripted.
See you next time.